Excuse me, sir. Is this your G-Wagon?
Yeah.
How did you get rich, man? What did you do to get a G-Wagon, man?
I recognize you. I know your stuff from the internet.
What'd you do, man?
I worked in the entertainment industry for a long time and invested in entrepreneurs.
What's your name?
Scooter Braun.
What was the most amount of money you made in a single year?
I sold the company for over $1 billion.
What was the exact exit price?
1.2.
I mean, I go all over the world interviewing billionaires. You might interview for a minute real quick? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
How long have you been an entrepreneur?
Since I was a kid, always trying to figure out a way to not be dependent. But I started the company when I was 19 in college.
What was that defining moment in your life where you had that mindset shift where you're like, man, I'm going to go out there, make a name for myself, and become one of the biggest in the entertainment space that it's ever seen?
For me, I was really, really young when I started. So I was probably too dumb and too ignorant to know that you probably shouldn't be able to do this. I think it was that blind belief. I saw someone do an interview recently and they said that really great entrepreneurs are delusional. And I definitely was probably a little delusional. I was younger that you can go and do this. And I think nothing great ever came from realistic ideas.
Have you ever been broke before?
Yeah, and I remember ordering Domino's pizza and realizing I did not have enough cash to pay. And I never forgot that. I always say success and failure really live next door to each other. And whenever you think it's going to fall apart, that's when you got to go that extra mile so that you find out success is right there.
What year was that you couldn't afford pizza?
Probably 23 years old. I'm 44 now, so 21 years ago.
20 years ago, would you have any idea then that you would end up selling a company for over $1 billion?
You know what's really funny? When I first started, I wanted to achieve that $1 billion. And then I realized making 10 grand was really hard. And I went and spoke to a guy in Atlanta that I really admired. And he gave me a number of 10 million of like, that's what it would take to have his lifestyle. And that was my goal. I was like, I want 10 million. I want to have a beautiful family. I want to have kids. And, my life changed. And I remember when I passed that number, I felt like, what is it all for? It felt empty. And then my pops gave me some really good advice. He said, well, what do you love to do? And I said, I love being with my friends. I love giving away tickets. I love, talking to a random entrepreneur and helping them. I love the adventure of life. And he goes, well, I think money could be a way to make you burdensome and you could be tied up by it. Or money could be something that sets you free to do all of those things more and more in your life.
So you are now the 44th billionaire that I've interviewed. Are you happy now?
I don't think that's how life works. I think life is ebbs and flows, and there's days where you're really, really happy, and there's days where you're sad. Everyone's having a human experience. And what I've seen from people that have a lot more money than me, who I've become friends with, they at times can feel very, very empty. So if you want a tip, if you want a cheat code for the end game of success, start doing work on yourself now and start seeing who you are and valuing yourself. And that's going to be a lot more important than making any amount of money.
Now, you were in the entertainment business for decades. What business made you the most amount of money throughout your career?
We built a record label, we built a publishing company, we built a TV and film production company. For me, I never wanted to be defined by one industry. I wanted to be defined as an entrepreneur. And that to me is just living an adventure every single day.
Did you have people that doubted you in the business world?
Yeah, of course. I was a knucklehead 19-year-old kid from Atlanta, Georgia, who's coming up in the hip hop industry and throwing parties. Everyone was like, what the hell is he talking about? He's going to build this and build that.
I'm assuming you had people that thought you were crazy.
Yeah, they thought I was nuts. But every great entrepreneur I've ever met has that story. If it was realistic, it wouldn't be great. It has to be delusional. A person who shuts out the noise, that's the person who becomes the great entrepreneur.
What's the number one thing that you look for in a business when you're making an investment into them?
I try to see if the entrepreneurs burn the ships. I just like to look at the eyes of the founder and how psychotic are they? Like, how crazy are they? How driven are they? Will they burn the ships? Will they shut out the noise? And I've seen that before. I've seen it, Travis from Uber, he had that. Daniel Ek from Spotify, he had that. Like, there are certain people that are so driven and determined that you look them in the eye and you're like, they're going to find a way.
I love that, man. You got amazing advice. And I connect with all the billionaires I interview. Could I get your contact?
Yeah, of course.